Hey everybody, welcome. Hash Church episode, oh geez, I don't know, what is it, 135 or 136? It's a few. I kind of start getting mixed up. I don't always go back and look at the numbers, but we're in one of these hash churches, so welcome everyone. I am going to, of course, send out the links to the Hash Church panelists. I know there's some early birds always waiting to come into the room, and I appreciate it. Holding down Hash Church by myself isn't something I always like to do, but well, happy belated 420 for all of you out there who celebrated a 420 celebration. We had a great celebration here in Vancouver. I won't lie, it was pretty spectacular. Let me see if I can grab a shot to show you. Welcome, Johnny B. Welcome, Todd McCormick. All right, here's the shot. I just got to give you guys the shot of Vancouver's 420. Right, literally at 420 as the joints got lit. There it is, the Vancouver crowd. Approximately 35,000 people they were guessing. Welcome, everybody.
Hello, sir.
How are we all doing today? We got Skunkman, Etienne, Todd McCormick in the house, and Johnny B.
I'm tired. Well, what we got from me. We got tired.
I feel you.
Happy belated 420, everybody.
Yes.
Happy belated 420.
Well, Todd and I hung. We got high, but others were definitely, there was events all over the world. But I caught you guys at 420 there, Bubble Man, and actually burned with you. So I actually watched your vid. So thanks.
Nice. Yeah, it was a tough one. You know, I don't usually operate multiple cameras at once, but I wanted to videotape, like record on my camera, my proper camera, so I can make a show for the channel, which I did, and it's up there now for those of you that want to check it out. But I really was focusing on the live camera in my hand. So, and when Instagram ended, I hate this Instagram thing. You got to push the save button or the video doesn't save on your phone. And I just was so excited it didn't get saved. And of course, so that video that you saw, Etienne, is gone forever.
Well, it was fun. It was eclectic, and it showed you, gave you the whole scope of what you were actually looking at from the stage, which was quite exponential. So
yeah,
kudos. It gave us a complete understanding of what was there, and seeing Jody and Johnny B and everybody there, it was fucking awesome. So great job. Sorry you didn't save it, but fuck, it was great to be there.
Yeah, exactly. It was happy people, man. It was happy people. And when I walked down with Flav, because Flav and I were at the High Integrity Glass Art puffing out of these just absolutely obnoxiously beautiful pieces. I mean, the Team Japan tube with the dot work, you have to check the video out. It's all on there. A little mic gong, like this $12,000 little mini mic gong, just beautiful pieces. And so Flav and I, we were sitting there probably till about 3:30, I would say, before we finally, oh, mute your mic there, D. Welcome.
Sorry, buddy.
No problem. Before we finally made it down to walk down to the actual event, and it kind of looked a little light. It didn't look like it was that much. And when we finally got to the actual park, we were happy to see a good amount of people. And I think we were there for all of 20 minutes. We walked down, we walked into the event, we met up with John and Dee. We walked onto the stage, took a few pictures. I didn't even have a puff because I don't smoke weed, you know? It was probably the most bunk weed in smoke that has ever been hit. Like, they gave away like 5 pounds of joints, and I guarantee you that was like not the best top of the line reefer. It was probably, someone was joking around. It was like, oh man, all those powdery mildew trim joints that were getting passed around.
I saw stuff being rolled, and it was actually pretty decent that they were rolling Neil and stuff like that. So it wasn't that bad.
Nice. Were you puffing on that stuff?
Hell no, I had my own Medi Kush.
Hell no.
I specifically took.
Hell no. It was not bad stuff, but hell no, I wasn't puffing on it.
I had my own. I smoked mine.
I grabbed the joint off of Johnny, one of his Medi Kushes, to light up at that moment, because
Nice job.
Kush is the shit. It's power. I loved it. It was a good joint for 420. It was fun.
It's a fantastic joint. And
Well,
what a fantastic 420 for Vancouver. I mean, really, it went over very well, except for a little bit of mud, but overall, a little bit of rain in the morning. But as the day progressed, I mean, it just kind of, like, you came at the end there, Mark, but I was there first thing in the morning, and it was kind of like a really good setting up. I think everybody kind of orchestrated it properly and got it all together pretty quick, and it just ran smoothly. They moved out 6 tons of garbage the next day, and the only complaint was is the field was a little muddy.
I saw the park guy was so happy that the garbage was all gone. And Dana said, it doesn't matter what we do. We could literally rebuild this park. And there would be a news story the next day that said, you know, activists change up park without permission. So, you know, he even told me the day before on 420, he said, watch, it's going to be field is ruined from mud. And it's exactly what the newspapers printed the next day, which is a little bit ridiculous. It was a 35,000 person gathering. No garbage was left behind, like very, very little. And Dana stayed there, I think, till 4 a.m. with a group of people cleaning up the actual garbage. So I don't really give as much props to all of those who went and set up booths to sell stuff. But the props that I give to those people who stayed behind to clean the garbage, 2 thumbs up. You are the ones that give our community a good name, because leaving all that shit behind, it just lets them write a shitty story about us when it's really, what event isn't there garbage left? I couldn't believe that Dana and his crew cleaned all that garbage. I got to give him mad props for that. That was impressive.
We did the same last year, the year before, like we always do. I mean, I left there about 9 o'clock at night, and everybody was just going, they were going through the mud, picking up garbage out of the mud. I was
until 4 a.m., John, if you can imagine.
I know. And it was awesome for Dan and the people
taking their own garbage that they created as well and brought it out with them and the whole works. It was a huge group effort, and it was a good time.
Fucking awesome.
So were the cops cool? But the cops were cool this year, no arrests.
Really cool. I had to went on and talk to this guy. I walked right up to him. He's leaning on the parking meter. I said, "What do you think of all this stuff?" And he was a big cop, he was taller than me and everything. He just looks at me and goes, "I don't give a shit about weed smoking, man." He says, "As long as people aren't hurting anybody or causing any harm or bullshit, I don't give a fuck what they put in them. It's their own life." And I just think it's great that people can do this and not be treated like a beer garden. He says, I said to him, just imagine if this was a big beer garden and we were told to shut down at 8 o'clock. What would the outcome be, I wonder? He said, "Oh, you'd have a fucking riot like we did on the fucking hockey game shit." And we had a laugh about it and said, yeah, and look at us, all those potheads fucking cleaning up and getting together like a big ant colony and taking care of the park. It was impressive, for sure. It was an awesome day. Ball rip, mother lovers. Let's go.
I was going to say, Darren, say it as you finish that.
Darren, do you not have a camera today? I'm not seeing you. I hear Darren, but I don't see Darren.
He's got a camera, but sometimes what happens is that if you got a lower bandwidth, what Google Chat does for me is it just eliminates the cameras that I can't. If I clicked on a name and I couldn't see the camera, sometimes it'll open up, but even sometimes it'll still show the photo. So I can assure you that it is being recorded for the show, for the 503 people that are watching right now that are celebrating the show in chat right now. Got a whole group of people: Shorty Donaire, Gary Crawford, Ned 669, Drew Robertson in the house, OG Brick 420. There's a whole good group of people in there, and hopefully we get some people visiting in from the High Times event today in San Bernardino. I guess you guys skipped that one, Todd?
Yeah, I can't. That venue is so played to death.
And so hot. I heard it was like 95 degrees in the shade.
I give San Bernardino full credit for letting the cannabis industry kind of experiment and develop in their community. I think it's fantastic. It's just that the place itself is kind of inhospitable. It's the desert. It's out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And I don't know. There's nowhere, like, it's not like there's trees and stuff. So unless they really deck it out like Chalice did, which High Times doesn't, there's really nowhere to sit and relax and get out of the sun and, you know, that kind of part. I don't know. I think they have to focus more on the fact that they're throwing a big lounge for the day, and a lot of people that come to smoke and meet people and interact, and you need chairs, you need places to sit down.
Well, this is where
more than just a flea market, in my opinion.
I credit Chalice with that, because it's throwing a scene event as opposed to High Times is throwing their event and people can show up to it. You know, I agree. I have to second Todd's situation. There is no place to chill there. And a lot of places and a lot of people are trying to just get to shade, especially when it gets to hot. I mean, it just gets really brutal out there. And without, you know, it gets sandy as well, and when it gets windy, it's dusty. It's just not very conducive all in all. But it's one of the very few events here in California that will let you, especially in Southern California, that let you actually smoke and vent.
Venues. One of the few venues.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I give Dougie Hitman full props for actually looking out and trying to create what wasn't there in most other places. I mean, because he did create a place where people could sit down and they were shielded from the sun and stuff, and it made it a lot more fun to go to be blunt. You know, knowing that you didn't have to walk around all day, or you know, I don't know. But I wish everybody there a really good time. I hope it's fucking a blast.
Yeah, I'm actually a little concerned for Indra. I know he was going down there. He was finally, it's like, I got my camera. I'm going down there. I want to be a part of this event. And if there's no couches or nowhere to sit down, he's definitely going to be bumming.
Oh, brother will be on his feet for a long time. There'll be some picnic tables here and there. I mean, hey, good for high times. I mean, you know, I'm glad that they do the cannabis cups. I'm glad that they've been doing them forever. And I hope they get to do them for a long time more. You know, I mean, I made a lot of good friends through their events, and glad I did.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, with all the people throwing events nowadays, because now it's just like, let's just throw whether it's a cannabis cup or a cannabis event, like a convention type event, there's just so many endless of them now that you could easily bankrupt your company if you really just wanted to try and do them all as a company.
Yeah.
And there's only really certain ones that are going to pay off for companies. So it's kind of gotten to this point where, imagine if the cannabis community had 15 or 25 cannabis magazines that you had to put your full page ad into each one. It's definitely a business in that sense. Here we go. First rip of the day, wake and bake. This is my only day of the week I don't do my wake and bake videos. So this is the wake and bake video today.
This was my first bong rip of the day. It was kind of nice getting it all prepared up.
Bong rip, mother lovers.
Thank you.
What you were saying, though, Bubble Man, there are definitely many events. There's almost events every weekend or every other weekend in California now. Con going on. There's a psychedelic conference going on here in California, in Oakland. There's a whole bunch of things having to do with cannabis nowadays, and then throughout the summer, every other weekend, again, there's something having to do with cannabis too. So the events have gotten strong, but I agree, there's so many that how do you pick which ones are, you know, beneficial for you, much less how do you get your money out as a business? It's so difficult to guess which one of these would be correct, from the hemp cons, canna-cons, high times cup, chalice, all these different things that are all upcoming. You know, that gives you a choice of, you know, you literally have to you put your business in like 6 different locations, you know, just on one weekend sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Vancouver, I think Canada used to have like 1 event or 2 events a year. Now May, well, we got one first week of May. There's 2 in May. The first week, there's one in UBC. They have a hemp conference there. Then we have a Calgary Lift conference. Week after that, there's an Emerald Cup being held up here somewhere up in Vernon. Then the week after that, they have Toronto, and then it just follows week after week after week. I know I'm flying out every week next month.
I'm picking and choosing and only going to a very, very few of them. I speak in the UBC one, of course, Salome's event next week at UBC, in 2 weeks, and then I'll just do Lift. But I just can't do them all. It's too much.
Legends Valley Music Festival and the Bio Cup. That's August 23rd to 27th. That's a huge one on the island. That's like 20 bands. There's another big event they've actually put together.
That one's a little bit of a problem with me because they're a metal rock concert and they have huge beer gardens. So you end up with drunk people getting punched in the face or punching other people in the face, which is exactly what happened at that particular event last year. I think they should lose the beer garden. And I get what they did. They took kind of an already existing big event and they kind of just said, let's make it a bio cup. We'll call it a weed event. And cannabis events and beer gardens, I just don't think that they're a good mix personally. There's always someone who's going to drink a little bit too much, punch someone in the face. It's just not something that we do at cannabis events generally.
No, you don't really hear about cannabis events about big brawls and scraps.
Not until that one you just mentioned. I remember last year.
Oh, that was
here. So-and-so got punched in the face. It was his ass. I was just like, I don't want to hear it. It's alcohol. Just I'll keep moving on. But hopefully it's better this year. I know Remo had all great things to say about it. I just avoid alcohol like the plague personally. I do.
Well, I know at the Bio Cup I was smoking lots of hash and everything. It's had a fantastic time there. It was a good event for a lot of people who were there. So I know like there's always a bad apple in any kind of event. And,
all the more reason not to serve alcohol. All the reason not to serve alcohol.
I really can't wait until we have events that don't have alcohol.
What's that, Sam?
How many years since you've had a drink of alcohol?
Oh, I don't drink alcohol, like at all. I don't.
You have never sipped alcohol in your entire life?
I've had a sip of alcohol, but I don't generally, like maybe it's been a decade or like more. I just don't drink it. I think I've been drunk only once in my life when I was a teenager. So I just, and that was from like a couple of beers or whatever. I never liked the vibe. I didn't like the way mostly really, I'll be honest. I didn't like the way it seemed to possess good people. People that I knew.
I'm not disagreeing with you. With me, it's been 40 years.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'd say it's been about 30 since I was drunk the one time in my life, and maybe 10 or 15 since I had like a little sip of like a fruity girly drink or something. I'm not down with it. I never have been. It's one of the things that we have very much in common, Sam.
The main reason with me is quite simply, when I drink even a beer, it tastes like lighter fluid or solvent.
Yeah, the taste
really
is terrible.
sensitive taste-wise.
Yeah, I can't drink hard liquor. Like that's like Lysol disinfectant or something. But the way it made people act around me, and I learned years later, it's funny because they have called alcohol spirits back in the day, and spirits is an accurate description because people get fucking possessed by that shit. Like, yes, it's unbelievable how different they can act. Like people that you know really well, and then talk to them the next day and they're like, I don't know what happened. It's like, I know what happened. You were possessed, bro. It was fucked up. That's what happened.
Dude, I'm from New Orleans. I used to go as a kid and just go to Bourbon Street and watch different all types of people from around the world just get inebriated.
Madness.
Oh, well, you could watch the Germans would be leaning up against each other, holding each other up. So would the Brits. But I mean, Americans, they're just right there throwing up in the gutter time and time again. And it's just, I don't know. It was always fascinating to me to watch people because for some reason, it's a big thing to go to Bourbon Street and get a shot.
Sure. That's huge.
It was still fascinating to me sociologically to watch people. And I think that's one of the reasons why I don't get drunk, or I rarely drink as well. I don't have a taste for it too. I just didn't like the sensation. But after the war, I was a hell of a bad drunk, man. I could drink a fifth of Jack Daniels and just to try to go to sleep. And I could start into a second bottle.
Wow.
It's dealing with pain and stuff. A lot of people deal with that, trying to find some way of dealing with whatever they're going through. And I know at certain times I was drinking scotch quite a bit for my pain control at night. Instead of taking opiates. Then I got into eating more cannabis at night and more CBD and finding out exactly what would work for me. So, I mean, we all use it, like Etchen, like you said, after the war. I know, Darren, we all used alcohol for the wrong reasons. And that's where it turns into a problem when you start using it for pain or for anxiety or anything like that. It then turns into what addiction.
Well, when I first met you, John, I would never have thought you drank any alcohol whatsoever. But once you got onto the learning of the dry sift and then how to make water hash of a higher quality or a higher purity, you were, you were definitely, I didn't realize you would, at night sometimes when the pain got real bad, you'd sip on some scotch. And I went to your house a few times and I'd see the bottle out and I'd be like, that's weird. What? you're just sitting
And I
there.
opened up the cupboard and I had like 15, 20 bottles of scotch at different scotches.
Right.
But there, some of them are 6, 7 years old. Like, it's not like I sit there and slam the bottle, right?
No, and
So-
dude, you have to admit, not long after learning the hash making techniques, you really left that behind. You were not doing that anymore within a year of me hanging out with you. You weren't drinking scotch at night anymore.
No, it's definitely
Tell the truth,
gone down
John,
quite a bit.
what you were really trying to do was you were trying to leave it there, not 6 or 7 years, but 20 years, because you like 20-year-old scotch better.
I got a couple bottles that are unopened, 1978 bottle. I got 1980 bottles. Yeah, I got some old vintage bottles that I'll never open.
I just cracked a 10-year.
You cracked a 10-year. That 10-year is so.
This is my 10-year Master Kush. It's 10 years old this year, 2017. Holy shit.
See, so that's what we got to start doing. I would say we should have marijuana. We should have Kush openings where they have scotch releases. We should have Kush releases. We should talk more about that because cannabis is like it's got so many different flavors, so many different terpenes, and how it ages
and you know what? If you don't age them, you never really know. You never really know what's there. And when people smell this and they taste this, they can't believe how strong it is. And my only theory, because I haven't taken it apart scientifically, Mark Scaldone style, is that, the terpenes that were present, that evaporated out, were really holding down that next layer. And it is like perfume now. Now I keep it sealed in a jar. I don't open it all the time. The stuff that I opened all the time, because I have the same hash out open on my desk for years now, it's lost the majority of its smell from just smelling it. But if you crack it open, obviously it's created that hard, hashy, old-aged membrane on the outside where it's just hardened up good. But you crack it open and it's very soft and gooey, and you can still smell that crazy perfumey smell. I'm talking such an exotic perfume smell that if I smoked it with you, for sure, Todd, like in an instant, would be like, what?
Ooh la la.
What? No, it's more like a kind of like it's so much and so different, Mark. It's almost throws you off at first. You're like,
We need to test it immediately and see if it's primarily hashishine.
we will. Not only will we test it through a GC, but we will test it through a bioassay. I hope to smoke some of this with all of you on the panel at one point in time. There's definitely like 15 grams of it, and it's not going anywhere. I'm not going to start.
So how do you
smoking that?
You've been storing that for 10 years. So how do you store it, or how would somebody go about storing something like that?
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to store something for 10 years, and this is only just my opinion, but the way I went about doing it is I did it a bunch of ways, like a quiver. So some stuff got preserved in the fridge. Some stuff got preserved at a cooler temperature, below room temperature, but not room temperature. Some stuff got left out in a bubble box, like in jars inside the humidor bubble box, and other stuff got left out completely on its own, just at room temperature, which is like, it's kind of stuck to my computer here. It's crazy shit.
If you want to preserve it as it was, the best.
Nitrogen.
What you want to do is put it at like -30, and you want to flush out any oxygen with nitrogen.
Right. Yes, exactly. I didn't go that hardcore.
Have you ever had it tested? Do you know what its potency is?
No, it's never been tested, but I have to say that it's it's very unique. I can't believe it. It smells and tastes absolutely nothing like Master Kush. Like nothing. No one in a million years would ever be like, oh, and it used to be the fuely, gassy Kush. So I will try to get it tested. We have labs that I can take it to, and it'll be sad to take some 10-year-old hash and get it tested because you
only need a half a gram.
Oh, half a gram. You only need a half a gram of the 10-year. Hey, still?
Let's do multiple tests.
Listen, it has nothing on for age, what the fat man used to bring me, which it was, I think, 17 or 18 years the last time I smoked it. And I think it was 11 or 12 years old the first time I smoked it. This was dry sift that our friend had saved. I think he saved it for like 21 or 22 years in total.
Yeah, it had turned red.
It was red. I have photos of it when it was like 13 or 14 years old. It was just red.
But if I put dry sift out on a table in my house, it'll turn red within a year or two.
Sure. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think he sealed that stuff with pulling out the oxygen and replacing it with nitrogen.
He didn't do anything like that.
Yeah, and it was very, to me, that hash.
He had it stuck in his fridge.
Right. Yeah. No bueno, in a container that wasn't really sealed properly, so it really pulled out.
Not a freezer, a fridge.
Right. Well, it was very stale tasting, but it had the long. You know what? It was kind of another sort of notch in the theory that terpenes and terpenoids modulate the effects of cannabinoids. And of course, this was very long ago, really right around the time you were doing the experiment with the pure terps and the pure cannabinoids. There was this long-term creeper high that came from smoking that hash. When you smoked it early in the morning without anything else, and you took a couple of big rips, it seemed to take time before you felt the effects. Instead of the instantaneous effects that were felt when you exhaled a rip normally, I felt like that stuff took like 5+ minutes, maybe 10 minutes before you really felt the effects. And it must have been
that could be terpenes. A combination of mostly THC, but also some CBN.
CBN, yeah, for sure. It was definitely with CBN, I would have to say.
Well, I've had weed in a jar in a freezer for years. Well, since 2008, and Dr. Hornby used to test it every year, and we saw it slowly degrade. Haven't tested in about 5 years, and I had to test it, didn't I? I see different things. One thing I was just talking about, I've had this in a jar. I just found this like 2 days ago. It's been in a jar for about 3 years, and I cracked this open. This is the My Little Pony. It smells amazing. And as in, how do we store this? A lot of people want to store their weed. We're talking about that. You're talking about storing, because I would love to store a lot of my stuff and save it forever. I have jars that I've had for like 5-10 years. My first grow I have in a jar, but it slowly changes color. Now there are UV jars out there. I mean, is this something that we should start if we want to like save some of our little precious little nugs that you've grown? And it's kind of like a little gift you want to save for yourself.
I'm very curious, John, if we completely protected it from light, would it change colors? Because absolutely all cannabis changes color if it has any exposure to even just, the light in your room.
Hey, look at the Acapulco Gold.
Yeah, well, that was sun-dried.
Exactly.
So, I mean, are these UV jars great for holding on to? Because all the weed that I've kept on for years, it's all the same color now. It's slowly degraded, but I know what it is. I got it marked on the bottom of the jar, little jars. Darren's seen it. Everybody's probably seen it if they come into my house. All these little jars of everything I've always kept. But, is there a way we can preserve it properly?
John, why I always smoke my best first, because that way I don't have to worry about it degrading.
That's another thing we have in common, Sam. Smoke your best first. So I guess
that makes my best is gone. That makes my second best my best.
So this is what I'm smoking, I guess.
Always smoking my best.
Yeah, let's smoke some of our best.
I'm gonna smoke some of my best. Good job.
Boom. This is Congo 120 micron bubble hash rosin.
Oh, I'm coming over to visit.
I am telling you guys, this is definitely something you want to have a rip of, Johnny. Trust me.
I'm going to take 3 different kinds here and triple dip this shit.
I did that yesterday, I did a triple dip with all the dry sifts with this Congo yesterday. I was thinking of you.
Nice. Was it very good? Did it work? Did it melt?
Well, I mean, it's 3 super sifty, melty sifts that I dipped like melty rosin into. So it was like, yeah, it melted into a liquid. It bubbled away. It actually filled my sapphire dish almost to the top and bubbled and melted, and actually made me realize I think I need to do a macro video of this, because this is quite pretty to see the head melt.
Was that the OG or was that different sifts?
It was the 09 Cookies, it was the Pine Tar Kush, and it was the OG. Those three.
Pine tar. That's what I'm puffing.
Wicked. Bong rip. Mother lover.
All right, let me get joined in there with you guys here.
I was just gonna as I reached down and grabbed this one pipe, I was telling Mark I picked up this cute little slinger little pipe, little old school little pipe at Puff's little store downtown last night. I was pretty stoked.
Nice slinger for the win.
I would really like to show what I bought.
Pretty cool.
In art at the 420 event.
That's cool.
It says, "How about them cows, mine?" And then we got the fucking Family Hill guy. These guys are just getting fucking chotched.
Did you say Family Hill?
Or no, did I say Family Hill?
I don't know. I thought
he did say Family Hill.
I don't know if I'm just stoned or if you said Family Hill, but I was like, it took me 2 seconds. I was like, that's accurate.
We'll watch the replay, I guess.
Hey, that's he works in propane and propane accessories. I only know that from my brief mention on King of the Hill back in the day.
Buddy, when you showed me that, I'd like to give a shout out to the boot. The cop fucking beat the poor guy up over it too.
Took his feather. He took the feather. Those were the fish heads camping in the forest, and he was thanking Bubble Man for the gift of barter, which of course on Fish Tour you have to understand is the ultimate tool. And if you have like full melt bubble hash on Fish Tour, there is not a door that is locked to you. So King of the Hill somehow knew about that and threw that into a little episode, which is super random when you think about it.
Yeah, Bubble Man's been on the King of the Hill.
Yeah, I think it was season 8, episode like 22. And it was like the fish comes to town and takes over the forest. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Nice art, dude. I'll rip that.
Thank you. Thank you to the artist.
And I'm gonna rip some of that full melt dry sift.
I'm gonna shout the artist out here on his Instagram to everybody so they can check his gear out.
No, don't do that, man. I'm just joking.
It is Marco Dabs on Instagram. The guy has incredible art. He's a young guy that just fucking loves smoking. He's a little young rapper and stuff too. He's got some ambition, man.
I wonder what is a more used term on Instagram in the cannabis community these days, dab or terpene? Like when you're coming up with your new Instagram name, I bet you there's a lot with those two things in it. They seem to be the most sort of prevalent, kind of newest within the last 5 to 10 years or whatever in our culture. Dabs and terpenes.
Are you sure it's not strain?
Oh gosh, you mean strand? What strand is that? Because that strand is even better because it's like you're taking an incorrect term and totally.
If you get enough strands, you can make a rope.
Exactly, dude, to hang yourself with.
Bong rip. Come on now. Let's just keep fucking bong ripping. That's it. Let's go.
Well, there's 700 people in the chat room right now for Hash Church. Tony just texted me and said he was going to jump in the next half an hour. He just woke up, and I guess they had a late night at the Cup last night. I'm sure we'll get to hear about it. Should be good.
Eventually that number will go up from 700 to 1,000 to 10,000. Eventually, when we've got, 2, 3, 4, 5 billion, we can all take a bong rip at the same time. I bet you we can change the Earth's rotation.
Well, you know what? I will say that the closest I've ever come to such a thing was during World Cup soccer. I happened to be in Montreal, and Brazil was playing France. And it was actually the year that France beat Brazil, which I got to give a shout out to Brazil fans because they basically partied like they won, which was really, like, in my opinion, it totally made me realize that the Brazilians are just really cool. I don't think any other team would have lost and then partied that hard. But when France would score a goal anywhere in the city that you were, you could hear the entire city scream in celebration. And it was kind of the weirdest. I'd never been somewhere where everyone seemed to be doing the same thing, to the point where you could literally open the door of your house in a park and listen for like a goal getting scored, and just raging party.
I could hear it from my house also.
That's what I'm saying, and that's like really far away.
No, I didn't mean your stadium. I meant the stadium in this town.
I bet. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. France beating the Brazilians. I'm not even a huge like sports fan at all, but I love bandwagon parties where it's like some reason why everyone's really celebrating. I did the same thing for the Olympics when it came to Vancouver. People were like, "Oh, the Olympics are so bad." And so I'm like, dude, whatever. It's like $1 billion party and I'm going. Like, that's all I'm going to say. I'm jumping in. I'm going to have a little fun. It's fun. And that's it. I'm not supporting.
First of all, everybody partying there, they think their team's going to win, or they certainly hope so.
Hey, well, I was in Whistler when Canada won the Olympic. I guess it was for the Olympics. I guess that last goal they scored, I don't even remember who it was against now, probably America. But they scored the winning goal, and I was in Whistler. Outside, they had these huge TVs everywhere, like giant screens. And that was also insane, like insane. Everyone came outside, filled the streets of Whistler packed, and there were all these different, gold medalist Olympians who were there partying as well it was just a neat kind of experience, and I'm not into it at all. But when there's like a big party like that and that many people are focused on being stoked, I can vibe out for a little while.
The energy takes you there. When there's that much energy, positive energy around you, it just kind of pushes you up into it. And then you
know what, Mark? I bet you Fish taught me that more than anyone. Yeah. Being able to just be like, yeah, just go trip out on that vibe. It's heavy good.
Did you hear Trey's did a recent round of 3 acoustic shows where he just played himself acoustically, and he was recalling all kinds of stories from the old days, and he was recalling a festival that they played at in Denmark in 1992 where Nirvana, who for those who remember, this is like when Nirvana was just completely in their they were just crushing it. Nirvana was just like the top of the music scene. Yeah. So the headline was Nirvana, but Denmark was actually in the finals against Germany. And I guess there was a huge German presence at most music festivals. And so there's a lot of interest in the game. And so they completely stopped the festival and rolled out these televisions everywhere for the game. And the festival just completely went quiet during the game. And I guess Denmark won. And right after that, Nirvana came on and played. And I guess the story is that John Fishman, the drummer, was like a total Nirvana head and just completely like went right up to the rail and was just like right up there on the rail. And Trey was sort of hanging in the back. But Trey recently shared that story. Hey, Marcus, on a serious note, I really want to share this paper that I read. It was published in February, and it's got some of the degradation products, thermal degradation products of glycols. And here's can you share this link in the chat with everybody in the YouTube chat? Mm-hmm. I don't think I'm able to share a link, but if you read this paper basically shows that glycols, which are commonly used in vape pens and even used all over like the e-cigarette industry, thermally degrade into these very, very not kind compounds. And one of them in particular, if you look at the link that I just sent out, if you scroll down to the scheme and you look at compound number 5, that's a choline. And a choline is a known carcinogen. It's extremely reactive, and it's just something you don't want to be pulling deep into your lungs. So again, here's some, qualitative assessment of what's going on with these types of diluents that are really commonly used in vape pens. And everyone should read this paper, because this is very important. If you're putting this in your products, or if you're using these products, you may want to consider otherwise.
Yeah, I saw that paper, and definitely have to say I wasn't surprised. The first time I ever saw anyone doing that, I thought, well, that can't be good. I just have my own like spider sense that I have to say sometimes has been good to me. It's been good to me. I'm not
well, and the thing is like, I think that this is where people have to be a little bit smarter than just grabbing conveniently accessed information from the internet. Is that a lot of these compounds like glycols are extremely safe if ingested or if rubbed onto your skin. They're not the kinds of things that you want pulling into your lungs. And at some certain point, I'm getting shit from Chris Barone as I'm schooling everyone here. So it's kind of like one of the things that I think people need to consider is that whenever you cut something with a non-cannabis thing, that these are chemicals that, again, might be safe for use in lemonade, or it might be safe for use as in ice cream or in other edibles where you'd eat a ton of it before you'd see any adverse effects. But aerosolizing it and thermally degrading it at nail temperature to give this, look at how many compounds are made, man. It's just a dog's breakfast, and all those shit are reactive. So those react with more things. And it's amazing that there's not more incident of, especially with e-cigarettes and the prevalence of those nicotine boxes that I see people carrying around all over the place. We were in a restaurant the other day in Florida, and I just noticed this woman just puffing on this thing like no tomorrow. It's like there was no offensive smell, but there was this huge cloud of whatever. I mean, you look at the number of compounds that's created when these things thermally degrade. So
yeah, we were in my buddy's building on the 30th floor, looking down at a building much lower, maybe a 20-story or a 15-story even. And on top of it, there was a film crew working, setting up a stage. I kind of want to go back and find out what they were filming because it was a cool looking stage they were building. But man, a couple of the guys in the crew, and we were at a distance, but we'd see these huge clouds come out of these two guys, and you just knew they had their big battery pack. It's definitely something to be aware of, I guess. I mean, geez, probably still not even close to as insanely damaging as the radioactive tobacco that people inhale, but still not good, not smart, not something I'm going to do anytime soon. No.
Well, there's just not a good solution for a non-cannabis derived diluent for taking a very sticky THC concentrate and diluting it to make a flowable material that can wick into a pen and a cartridge. I think there is some new technology that can actually deal with much more viscous materials, but I always
Mark, what about thinning it with terpenes a little bit?
Yeah, that's what sort of I wanted to get back to, because to me it's like the cannabis plant actually provides its own solvent to help, that thinning process. Mm-hmm. And to me, if you're growing for oil or if you're growing for trichomes, let's take a step back. You're growing those plants to produce trichomes, but you also want to, again, I've tried to convince many of my clients that you put that investment into your genetics and into your cultivation and into your cultivation team and your practices. You really want to get the optimum value from the plants you're raising. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer. It's like, what's the most value I can get? And really, to me, it's like grabbing those terpenes and doing like the fresh frozen methods and doing like what Indra is talking about, which is, immediately freezing the thing with liquid nitrogen and taking that snapshot of where the chemistry is still fresh on the plant. To me, that makes the most sense, because especially if you're turning most of that into oil, I don't think you should be curing it if you're converting it into oil, because that's when you're going to start getting that darkness, I think, and you're not going to get the fresh frozen taste, which I think everyone is sort of looking for, Mark, right?
What happens if the fresh frozen, because it's so high in terpenes, especially the monoterpenes, which are when you dry something for a couple of weeks properly and then you cure it for 3 months in a box or something.
We really need to get the quantitative.
It becomes smoother. Smoother.
we've had this discussion before. So in the curing process, you're actually doing some kind of conversion of like myrcene into other,
or just lowering the ratios, altering the ratios. I don't know the answer. I just know there is something there.
Releasing plastic terpenes? I mean,
yeah, maybe monoterpenes, some of them at higher levels are irritating. Or I'm guessing. I don't know.
right? And that's like the experience that you were sharing about that one herb that you can cure for a given period of time, and it doesn't produce that effect with you, right?
Yeah, exactly true. That's one of the examples I've seen. Yes.
Here's a question.
I guess the point is, going back to the vape pen diluent thing, is like, if the cannabis plant can provide you with, like John was referring to, the hydrosol that you get when you do a fresh frozen extraction with butane, you're going to get a portion of the water that's just not going to be compatible. Like using this term sauce to basically look at how they would incorporate that back into the extract. But certainly you can use that as the basis for creating your THC distillate after you've processed it, right? I don't know, just an idea.
Well, who has the technology, honestly, to actually do that type of separation? It's easier for companies to buy PEG and other things so that they can dilute their pens with a situation that will work for these cheap pens that are coming out of China, you know, penny after
Well,
penny.
my thinking is that pretty soon the PEG suppliers are going to be nailed by some sort of regulation where they're not going to be able, I mean, this is going to be something that they're not going to be able to sell their products into. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
No, I agree. I think there it is, because I mean, there are studies that show, you know, PEG 400 under certain amounts is fine, but they haven't done any studies that have shown it with this type of ignition or these type of ignition apparatus that people are now using on a daily basis. You know, these things are cheap solenoids manufactured with the lowest grades of metals and solders, etc. So I mean, we had Sam High, when he was back with Omicron back in the day, come on and describe those problems. But I stopped using those pens a while back because, one, I didn't like the way my lungs felt when I smoked them. Two, they kept breaking on me, so I've gone back to just using nails and torch. You know, I've gone back to just simple, because that works. I don't get that strange lung sensation when I inhale those things, and that's where I'm curious about it, is because there is no research regarding what these people are ingesting or inhaling. And the thing is that these pens are some of the most popular items because they're easy to access, they're cheap, and they're also easy to use out in public because everybody else is using other types of vaporizers nowadays. And all those combinations are a scientific concern, given that that there is no long-term study and the prevalence of this use nowadays.
Hey, can I just ask, you're not talking about stuff like this, right? These are great.
No, I'm talking about those preloaded cartridges.
Preloads?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right. That's what you're talking
about. These things
are
awesome. These are ceramic. These are titanium. I love this thing. I mean,
what is it, Todd?
Type thing.
That's the Omicron. That's what I was talking about earlier. That Sam High came on earlier episodes of Hash Church and showed us that they have taken the forward thinking in the lines of making sure that they use titanium. They're using higher grade soldering, everything about them. It seems to be.
We could have Gary on one day, the owner of the company. He's a great guy. He's who Tony and I have linked up with to design, because we wanted to do a pen. It's a huge thing, everyone, the convenience and whatnot, but all the things you guys have mentioned, and really it was Sam who turned me on, as well as Gary, to the fact that these elements are inexpensive and surrounded by somewhat toxic materials that can heat up over time and melt, and you're inhaling things from the motherboard and from the solder, all sorts of different things. So basically, we had him basically design a pen that would be sustainable and refillable, and not just a throwaway like $1.50 pen. and we're trying to get that out in the next little while. No time really, not sure when exactly, but that's, if you saw Tony holding up those glass syringes, those are really applicators to fill these pens with, because we want to make them sustainable so you don't have to buy a new one every time and throw it away, because I just thought that's a huge waste. And of course we had Gary design it in a way that it would just be the safest, highest quality material. And generally people who are pumping out pens at $1 a piece or $1.50, they don't want to hear anything about our, you know, like whatever, $10 or $15 ones.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I've been getting them since probably 2012. And I've had shit tons of them fail, and I've had this thing for as long, like now going on years, it feels like, and this thing's never failed me.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah, quality is really nice.
Omicron's on it. He does another one called the Hercules, and of course the Hercules is like his superior cartridge. This will go onto one of those vape mod boxes, and it's you know, it's a cartridge within a cartridge. So this is the actual cartridge here, and the heating apparatus is a long ceramic stem that goes from one chamber into the other, and it sort of pokes out inside the oil, and just a small amount of it, so the oil doesn't all change flavor and lose the flavor. This thing was designed so you could put a gram of oil in it and smoke it over the course of a period of time and not have terrible flavor at the end of your experience. So Sam said he put over a pound of oil through his Hercules, which is pretty incredible. And you know, that just good products for sure. Omicron.
Yeah, that is a technical achievement. That's something that, you know, that deserves intellectual property protection, because that is a device that is solving a unmet need in the marketplace right now. Yeah. And to me, when I've said this to other people too, is like, when you think about like a Glade air freshener that you're plugging into the wall, when you first plug it into the wall, it'll smell just like the roses or the daffodils on the box the first day you plug it in. But when you come back like a day or a couple days later, it'll smell different, because you're boiling off the most volatile notes. And so in a vape pen cartridge that's flavored or that has some kind of, you know, essence in it, the most volatile notes, when it heats up, get basically boiled off first. And so what's left are going to be the heavies. And so if he solved that problem, meaning that the good taste from a first hit tastes as good as the last hit, that's a real technical achievement. That's really good, because you're not fractionating the oil during the vaporization process, which is cool.
Well, the pens that he designed for us were designed to have terpenes, cannabis-derived terpenes added as the thinner. So that's basically, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what people think when we eventually make it to.
So, Marcus, are you adding the same terpenes to from which the distillates derived? Like
some,
because it's not a distillate. Distillate, like you can get distillate.
We don't do distillate. We'll do full melt and rosin. It won't be. Distillate.
Okay.
Everything about our pens will be quite different. It's just like no one else is doing this one thing. It's just a little. We're not trying to own a big thing of the market or anything. Just want to do something that's missing, so people can go and get like a sustainable pen that they don't have to feel like, oh, this is like a waste. I hit this and then I throw it away like Kleenex. Just seems silly.
It's just interesting that if you're making rosin, which is like a dabbable product, why wouldn't you just, you know, stop there? I mean, like taking then rosin and then converting it into something like THC.
You know what? We'll give you one of those pens and you'll understand why we wouldn't stop there. That's how it's going to happen, Mark.
Yeah. Hey, are you coming
Mark, I'm putting it into empty seal.
This run of fish shows this summer?
Oh man, I wish. I don't know if I'm going to be making any fish shows this summer. Where's Fish playing this summer?
Oh, they're doing like 13 nights at Madison Square Garden.
Jesus.
In a row. That's one thing, but they're playing a smattering of other shows elsewhere. I think they might be playing closer to you, but
is that Aaron in the house?
Yep.
We're down here at the Southern Cal High Times Cup.
You look like you're in a garage.
I am in a garage right at the moment, but we're getting ready to go over to the Cup. We were there all day yesterday.
I was going to say, damn, the Cup looks like a garage.
Well, it has changed. This is the remote Cup location.
Nice.
It's called the Sub Garage location.
Excellent.
But
well, cool. How was
I
the
see
Cup?
that light up there.
Cup good?
Oh yeah, Cup's been crazy fun. There's tons of people there. Got so dabbed out yesterday. Accidentally drank a medicated root beer float and knocked me on my ass for about 3.5 hours. It was way over medicated, but been nothing but fun. I'm not able. Yesterday was my birthday. I'm 71 today, so I wasn't able.
Happy birthday!
I wasn't.
Happy birthday, John.
Thank you, guys. I wasn't able to buy anything. Every time I tried to buy some concentrate or flowers or something, people would stuff my pockets with a bunch of extra concentrates and then give me my money back. And so it was kind of crazy. I was running around yesterday. Every time I introduced myself, but I handed out tons of brochures and business cards and from people from all over the world. And so many Hash Church watchers recognized me and came up on me, and everybody was saying and happy birthday, patting me on the back and stuffing my pockets with samples. So it was nothing but a good time. It was just fun. And
did you see Sub? Cool.
I did see Sub. He came out of the booth and gave me a huge long hug. He got really busy last night, and then his phone died, so we didn't get to hook up, but we're going to try it again this evening after the show. But yeah, we hung out for a few minutes, and as soon as I walked up to the booth, he came around the edge of the booth. And he goes, "Wait a minute, you guys, I got to go out here and give this guy some love." And he gave me a big, long hug. And we talked for a little bit. And yeah, I could hear his voice, his rasping. I'm definitely going to be able to do something for him. So that's going to be good.
Yeah, that COPD that he has, or whatever it's called, is scary.
I know. He's not using the bottom part of his lobes on his lungs right now, and really I can maximize what he has left, and so it's going to be good to get a hold of him. But yeah, a number of people approached me yesterday at the Cup about breathing problems. Apparently a lot of people were tracking me down, and we got a nice little scooter that I've been riding around on, so I've been able to get away from the crowds by just accelerating off.
You got a dab rig on that thing or what?
I haven't needed one. Everybody there has been trying to dab me into submission. Man, I got some of the greatest new dab flavors, the strawberry banana stuff that is just
yeah, strawberry banana has been hot for a bit now, I gotta say. It's I got a little bit right here myself from Concentrated X. Just fire. It's so good. DNA Genetics killed that one, like just ridiculous.
Are you talking to any extractor makers, John?
Say again?
Are you talking to anyone who's making extractors?
No, I didn't see anybody there making extractors, to tell you the truth.
Dude, what about all the people making that oil? You should be like the ones that are the nicest. You could be like, oh yeah, this guy's making good oil. I'll be talking to him later.
Yeah, well, I've been giving brochures and cards out, and every single person who was making concentrates there was very interested to grab a card from me. And so I had people coming up on me from everywhere, getting cards and brochures about it. So I suspect things will cruise along even more so than they already are. And really, it's already getting a little crazy. I got a lot of people hitting on the site and a lot of people answering from the brochures. And sorry, but man, I do go on when you do your other wake and bake thing, and I don't say anything, but I try to police it on the side in case anybody starts asking you about it. I tell them to shut the fuck up and leave you alone about it.
Oh, it's all good. I just passed them the website. It's all good. This is what my chat rooms have become, all sorts of unique ways for people to get in touch with the people that I know through me. So they'll be like, hey, can you give me so-and-so's number? And I'm like, oh, that's not really how it works. But most people have, like, I think at the, on Hash Church, if I put everyone's contact information into the comment section each week or something, and then anyone that wants to get in touch with Etienne or Johnny B or Mark or yourself, or welcome to the room, Tony Verzura, they can do so.
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
Looks sunny over there, Tony. Sunny California. Maybe he can't hear us. Oh.
Was he in Southern California?
He's at the Cup as well.
I didn't see him yet.
I don't know.
But the Cup's pretty crowded. So.
Can you hear us, Tony?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. You unmuted your mic. I like the wireless headphones. That's very futuristic.
Yeah, but they're not working.
Oh, shit.
iPhone 7.
Well, Indra was just telling us about the Cup a little bit. How's it been for you?
Is Indra at the Cup?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The Cup's been pretty busy, man. It's been a nice Cup this time. It looks like they've only done like, because they're only doing one down here, and then one up north. It seems to be a better spread than trying to do like a whole bunch of them during the year, kind of like what HempCon's doing right now.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Too many events is just makes it difficult to get to them all.
Or select, as we're saying, select which ones we actually, which ones are viable to go to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a good one. They did a better job. I think there's a new ownership of High Times or a switch of Tides. Still some of the same players, but there seems to be a lot more organization. The event's moving a little bit better. It's more flow. There's a lot more people this time.
I think that culture is the new commodity.
Disagree. We need a Cup every day until all the changes we want come about.
Can you pay for my booth, Sam?
No, I was going to sell the booths. I figured this was an easy way for me to pick up $1 billion or $2.
Oh my God. Well, listen, that would be $1 million alone for my booths for the year. $1 million.
I'll give you a special 5% off.
Oh, that's perfect. I should get, actually it's $1,095,000. So
it's called the tourist discount.
Still going to be over $1 million just for booths.
Listen, there's a lot of events when you're at an event and you like won at another event and you're not even at the event, nor did you know about the event.
Yeah, that's how it goes right now. I had that happen to me with High Integrity one time, or sorry, not High Integrity, the Heavenly Days, the company that makes this stuff. And I was standing with the Heavenly Days dude at an event. He didn't even know he was entered in and won first prize. And he didn't even go up on stage. He's like, no, I'm not going on stage. I'm like, you won, dude. Like, that's crazy. He's like, I didn't even enter. Someone else must have entered my shit. I was like, well, congratulations nonetheless.
Yes, definitely.
That's why I came out. That's why I got invited to North Korea. So I landed in North Korea late this morning. And I'm gonna smoke out with the general here.
North Korea, hey, how is their failed missile launching going?
Well, they're a bunch of stoners and volleyball players, and they just want to hang out. So I'm not there talking about their
stoners and volleyball players. They look so straight.
No, they're not.
Just be happy they're not making grow lights in North Korea. They'll be suffering from that right now.
Well, I will tell you one thing. There was a lot of some of your very old school friends stopped by the booth. A lot of people from YouTube stopped by the booth. Just want to say shout out for those that are hardcore diehard fans. Some people only watched, like came in on Friday specifically to try to find our booth that has no marketing or banners or any. It's kind of a Larry David type of show where people don't even know what the hell we are.
That's awesome.
Oh, it's been fun, dude. I've had several people just come up that they just wanted to see the rig. They didn't want to dab. They didn't want to talk. They're just like, oh yeah, man, I just want to check out that Rhino Maccabee. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, if you need a dab, I'm at your service. Just let me know. And they're like, yeah, man. And it was like, we don't know you. We just care about your rig. I'm like, all right, cool. And then they would like start to dab a little bit. And then they're like, oh, what is this? And then it kind of like a little familiarity. But there was a lot of Hash Church fans that just came. They said, oh, we just came in to see you and smoke out and show support. And then it was cool. But I had some of your really old school friends from like 13, 15 years ago stop by.
I saw Volley was there. That's a friend of mine from Holland. I haven't seen him in a while. That was kind of unique.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. So they were all asking about you. It was pretty cool. They were like, tell him Wally said hello. I was like, how about I just take a picture of you and send it to him? He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, we've come a long way.
Right?
And then I even got this from your other buddy, the guy that used to have a beard. He does a recording studio, and his name's Greg. Remember Greg?
Yeah.
He said he wants to see us in Spain, but he recorded this flamenco. This real guitar player and music here. So he gave me a CD. It was one of the coolest things I got yesterday.
I was about to ask, was that you with hair back in the day, Tony? But no, I guess not.
No, I wish.
I wish. Hair's overrated. Isn't it, Etienne?
What is hair? I've been shaving my head for 30 plus years, so I'm used to it. I've never liked hair. I'm never a fan of it. I don't know what a shampoo is. I have no idea what a haircut costs. I'm completely out of the hair game for decades, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too. Some people are like, oh, you missed a spot. I'm like, I didn't miss a spot. I just wanted to see if you'd notice I had any hair. So appreciate it.
I got a bunch of nice t-shirts yesterday there that were given to me, some pretty crazy t-shirts.
Gonna be there today?
At the various booths. Yeah, I am gonna be there. As soon as we get done eating breakfast, we're gonna head over there.
We'll try to find we're on the backside of Gold Ops booth. Come see. I'll try to walk around a little bit today and see people and do filming for Bubble Man's World. So I'm gonna do some interviews, but you should stop by. I got stuff you can try.
Well, I have an electric scooter now, so it's easy for me to get around there.
I was putting some of the strawberry banana terp water inside the rig, hitting the strawberry banana resin.
Listen, I hunt down everybody who's got strawberry banana as a cultivar who's dabbing it, because the flavor that comes across in that strawberry banana stuff is just incredible. Imagine.
Yeah, this one's too.
I just love it. I ran into some strawberry banana cookies, little hash pressed cookies that I tried some of, and it was just incredibly flavorful. It's crazy how many different products that people have put into the learning curve on this, because that cultivar, that strawberry banana cultivar, is just an mind-boggler to me.
It's unique. Very nice flavor. Tastes so delicious. Pretty strong too. Pretty strong.
Very strong. I think the stuff yesterday was 27 or 28% THC.
New Age Utopia says Tony hooked it up at the Cannabis Cup. Thank you. Just reading some of the chatter going on. It's like it's kind of a chill hash church today. It almost seems like we all woke up 5 minutes ago. Oh wait, we did.
420 still recovering.
I was awake at 4:20 last night. Mm-hmm.
Damn, was it a good night?
Oh, I had a great time. Bill Maher was in town and did stand up. He sold out the Fox, and tonight he sold out a place in San Francisco.
Very fun, very fun. I love stand-up comedy. I actually watched Louis C.K.'s stand-up last night and was just like, man, right out of the box, that guy starts talking about shit that nobody else wants to talk about. Incredible. If you haven't seen his latest, the 2017, I won't talk much about it, but right out of the gate,
That's funny. Like, I watched that last night too. Yeah, right out the gate, he went right there. It's hilarious, and he did it the whole hour. I mean,
he didn't stop. He did not stop.
And I love that type of confrontation of ideas, thoughts, societal norms, etc. That he just shatters right out the gate. Love it.
Yeah, it's quite something. He's pushing all the buttons that should trigger you in certain things. But even if you get triggered, you're kind of like, oh, but he didn't really, like, it's tricky the way he says his, anyway, hilarious stuff. Check it out. That's, I'm sure Bill Maher was hilarious as well.
Nobody else down at the cup on the panel? None of the rest of you guys are down here?
Dude, are you eating?
Yes.
Okay, so you might want to turn your camera off while you eat, because I think it's recording everything that's in your mouth when you talk. So we'll just, I always just turn my camera off when I eat, just because it's not fun to look at. That's so much better, absolutely. I couldn't tell actually, because it was cutting up a little bit, and then at one point it froze on you and your mouth was open. It looked like you had all these shards for teeth, but I guess it was sandwich or breakfast or whatever. I'm gonna have a bong rip on that note. Hey, I eat see, people are thanking me too. No, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I do the same thing, and when I eat, I just turn my camera off because I know nobody wants to see me eating eggs and toast on Hash Church. We've had these conversations with a lot of different people over the years, so we're just it's Hash Church.
Let's talk about chewing resin.
I got a nice sandwich here. I'm just waiting to eat, but I'll wait till after. I'll turn my camera off. I've been told as well.
I've actually been
told as well.
I've actually been eating green eggs and ham the entire time.
Bong rip to that. Green eggs and ham. Mother lovers.
We are all fighting the munchies, OG Brick says. Fuck, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, well, we're having a bong rip. I'll hit some of your bubble hash here.
I'm gonna go for some of that sift.
All right. So much for the rosemary toast.
Rosemary toast, hey?
Yeah, rosemary bread toast. It was delicious. That, whole scrambled eggs, sausage. It was fantastic breakfast. Anyway, yep, we're gonna head over to the show. We're playing around here a little bit.
We'll go find Tony and hit the strawberry banana sauce that he's rocking.
Nothing better than that strawberry banana stuff, I tell you. I don't know. I probably had.
Oh, there is. It's when you cross it with
10 different dabs of strawberry banana yesterday.
That it's what, Tony?
I said there is something better than the strawberry banana. It's when you cross it with the goo, and that's what you need to try.
Say what?
There's something better.
What's the name of it?
It's crossed with the goo. That's what you got to try it with. It crossed with the goo because it tastes like bubble gum. Different.
Strawberry banana goo.
Yes.
I'm open to all strawberry banana cultivars.
That's what I'm saying.
I had so many yesterday, but I'm going to do a bunch of them again today, but no more edibles, not at the show, because I had to be strapped into my chair after the edibles came on because I was going to fall out of it.
Yeah, the edibles are tough to do at a cup. I don't do them. I'm already so exhausted that I can't do it.
Put you to sleep in 15 minutes.
And then when you come by, Andrew, I got a strawberry banana goo and a Jack Frost for you. The Jack Frost is unbelievable.
Well, you'll be able to tell me I'm driving a really fast electric scooter, and I fly right up and I shut it down. I've been having a good time there, driving it around.
That's great that you have a scooter.
It's good that I got it because let me tell you, it's really spread out there. It's a lot of walking.
You got to hitch one of your extractors to the scooter. You could just kind of scoot around and extract as you scoot.
Well, the next show that comes after May, we'll be having an extractor at each of the shows to show people. So,
I've already copyrighted the name Extractor Scooter.
all right. I'll have to work a deal out with you.
No problem. I'll give it to you really, really cheap. Like,
What about a scooter mounted?
Strawberries and bananas or something.
What about a scooter mounted extractor?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure with lawyers on Monday, I'm going to have patent applied for on the desk extractor that we just sent in. And if that's the case, then probably it's possible to have one on the back of a scooter. At the show, I definitely want to show that.
Happy birthday to you. Yeah, celebrating with hashish.
Now, I just got a birthday cake handed to me this morning.
Oh, happy birthday.
Hash.
Well, here we go. We got to be singing happy birthday. Who's leading
No.
off?
That happy birthday.
3, 2,
1.
1.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Slow, George.
Happy birthday, dear Indra. Happy birthday,
Hashiest of birthdays. Hashiest.
Happy for you, man.
All right.
That's what we're saying right there.
Where's
Got
the longer?
one switch on this.
I'm not sure why we sung it in slow motion again like that, but that's interesting.
We were having
It's
fun.
something to do
We
with
were
the
also pretty
voice
slow
lag.
there.
Every time we sing a song together, that voice lag thing happens.
Well, we
It's
drop
like
it down to
everybody's-
a 4/4 even, so we're not doing any crazy syncopation there or speeding it up. But
There's definitely no crazy syncopation going on.
Need a metronome, an on-screen metronome for the next one.
yeah, Dr. Scaldone, don't you have a metronome around?
I'll be right back.
Right?
I can tell you a funny story, Marcus. When I turned 21, I was in Morocco up in the, actually down south in Essaouira. And
Screwing around's not a good idea.
I had cannabis at the time. I was smoking mostly hashish, but I had cannabis. And I stuck 21 joints in my cake for a little party me and my wife had.
21?
21 joints because I turned 21 that day.
Classic.
I did 30 on my 30th.
I did 31 dabs on my 31st birthday in a row.
I used to just smoke ounce joints on my birthday, starting at around like 16 or 17. I'd buy an ounce, roll it up into one big joint, and then took like 30, 40 minutes to smoke with my friends each year. It was kind of more fun, but that was about the extent of it. Just smoking everyone out to the point of like minor smoke inhalation damage.
When you're young, I can see taking a dab hit for each year. But if you quickly did my age, then I don't know what would happen.
I know what would happen because I've sat there in your living room and watched you take 60 rips in a couple of hours. Are you fucking kidding me?
In a couple hours, yeah, but I meant a little faster.
Well, dude, the fact that you do it, period, at all is unbelievable. Listen, ounce joints take 40 minutes to smoke. So 60 plus dabs, I think,
Well, that'll lead you into the next birthday.
Oh man, you know what? What do you got going on there, Mark? You got your metronome going?
I got my metronome, yeah. So that you want
Gnoming out.
So we can actually, do we want to sing this at 76 cycles per second or 84?
I don't think
Well,
we
let's
should
do
sing ever
150.
again.
No, I think we're good on it.
150?
Keep it around for the future metronomage, you know. If not, I say we do it like
For the
132nd.
next time we have to sing happy birthday, we will sing happy birthday with the metronome. I'll run and get it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, I love it. That fast, perfect. We're done.
Right? Hey,
that was pretty funny. That she's like, happy birthday to you, happy birthday.
Exactly. So 2 days ago, no, was it 2 days ago? Yes, it was 2 days ago. I ended up on a glacier on my snowmobile, and we went and hunted down all these ice caves. I went and got very irie, smoked some lovely hash in a bunch of different ice caves, made some video, didn't actually take pictures of the pipe and the hash in the caves, but I had to share some of these pictures on Hash Church because they are just ridiculous. I don't know how to make it full screen anymore. It seems to want to just do this sort of thing right here. But I figured I'd share a few of these ridiculous ice cave pictures that I took just a couple of days ago. This is like ice that is probably 15,000 years plus old. We went into 4 different caves, so there was quite a few different varieties from this sort of opaque white kind of ice right to an electric blue, no filter, straight up. This was the color of this ice in this snow cave. And the light, which looks artificial, is literally coming from the reflection of the snow outside and just shining into the cave. Just thought that the Hash Churchers would appreciate a few ice cave shots. It's not something you really see every day, and I felt pretty blessed just to have the opportunity to go inside and shoot some pretty inspirational photographs. That I want to go back here and make some water hash. Unfortunately, not with the ice that the cave is made of. I guess there are bacteria that can be held in glacier ice, so you might not want to be using it for making bubble. But yeah, just thought I'd share a couple of those shots. You can see the size from the people in the background. It's quite a big space.
Yeah.
How far away is that from where you live?
Oh, well, it was about 2 hours just from the parking lot of where I parked, but it's about 1.5 hours to get
the parking lot that you parked at.
Well, you got to drive up a mountain. It's called Rutherford Creek near Pemberton, BC.
Wow.
Yeah. All different ice caves, dude. Just completely stupid, epic. Like, I'm talking like the kind of beauty that almost makes you like shed a tear. And then, what's that?
I went to Glacier last year, and the glaciers are practically gone. So, I mean, where you are, I mean, it's very rare to see glaciers, much less to be able to go into one nowadays. And glad you got to, because they're disappearing every day.
Yeah, no, it's true. They definitely are, but we've still got quite a bit of them up here in Canada. They change so drastically that it's kind of scary, but yeah, that's what it looks like up top.
Could you hear anything inside there? Was there movement? Like when you're down on the earth, you can actually hear the earth and storms in the earth, but
mostly just the voices of other people in the cave. We had some people show up in helicopters. There was a group that had a plane. So it's like people are out there on all sorts of different things. But yeah, I just figured I'd share a couple of those photos because they were of a level of beauty that I just had to share.
Pretty epic. I have to somehow get my Argo up there. Can you drive up there? You said,
John, it would take you days to get an Argo up there. We're traveling at about 80 kilometers an hour on the top of the ice caps, going like that for an hour and a half. It's far. It's really far. It's past.
Helicopter is.
Yes. Now we could rent a helicopter and grab a crew of us and go have like a lunch there on maybe a day that I'm there with some of my sled friends already. So you guys just roll up on a heli, have a nice big lunch, maybe make a batch of hash, boot you guys back on the heli. Yeah, I was planning on doing it kind of with my family because when these guys showed up in the ice cave, and you have to imagine we're in the backcountry, it's very far from civilization. We were surprised when we bumped into Rory Bushfield and Mason Michon, a couple of photographer, pro skier, pro mountain biker, really super like good dudes in the Whistler backcountry scene. They had, in fact, you go check them out on Instagram. It's Mason Michon. And Bushy Wayne is Rory's Instagram. They have a teepee set up out there that they were staying in for the last who knows how long. But epic, they got the plane, they got sleds, they do ski touring up the mountains, and the filming and the photography that they're doing is of deep inspiration to me. So I would definitely urge you guys to go check them out on Instagram and see just see like the shot of the teepee with the fire inside, so it's glowing orange with the stars at night and the beautiful snow. It's one of my favorite parts of a thing about living here in BC is this backcountry culture, and I very much want to bridge the gap for the cannabis community into the backcountry culture because I think it's a very small gap that won't need much bridging. I did not see Diane, but I have met her in the past, Bob Tyler, when Mason and Diane flew back from maybe New Zealand. I actually gave them a ride from Vancouver to Whistler, and that was the last time that I saw his girlfriend. Their names I will post in the chat. Mason Michon and Bushy is Rory's Instagram. There you go. So there it is. Share some photos. Kind of having a slow hash church today, so I thought I'll share some stuff. Why not, right? See if I can bring up the actual.
Cool. I just brought it up and just taking a look at it. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, dude. No problem. Bunch of fun stuff. Got the.
Well, it's just like that's an epic. Those pictures were amazing, and it'd be nice to go up there, like you said, pull a bag.
Well, listen, their pictures are even, if I dare say so, absolutely more amazing. Mason's an incredible photographer, and I was not able to really stop and get the kind of photos I wanted to of the plane and of the teepee. So it's actually, I got one right here that I can share. If I can actually find the chat room again. There we are. There we are. So here we go. This is their little camp that they had set up, which is just so effing cool. Check that out. On top of a glacier, sleeping in that little, and they said that there was 3 days of straight storming where it was whiteout blowing storm. So they basically stayed in that teepee the entire time. Just cool things that you can do in the mountain culture. Get out and explore. Life is beautiful. The world is beautiful. All the way down.
Yes, you have to do that. You have to just get out and go somewhere where there's no cell phone reception and relax.
There's absolutely no cell phone reception.
100%. Yeah, that's cool.
You can take selfies, but you can't post them. It's the
I was actually
John,
in no cell phone reception.
You could get a booster put on that helicopter that you're going to fly out there, and maybe you could get like a cell boost.
Oh, you know what you can do is you can bring a InReach, which is what most of us have out there. And InReach is a backcountry tool that uses Iridium technology, the Iridium satellites for the Iridium phones. You know, those phones that are basically sat phones with the big, thick antenna that comes off the back. Well, these are like pagers for the Iridium, and they allow us to do two-way texting by Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connecting from our telephone to the InReach unit, and it gives you, basically you send a signal to the unit, it sends to the satellite receives, there's someone who sends your text, whether it's a picture, a tweet, you can send your live map, GPS location to your spouse or partner or people that you want to know, this is where I am just in case. And it's an incredible tool. It's called InReach. I suggest everyone having it. It's as important as the avalanche backpacks that blow up into a balloon and bring you to the top of the avalanche. So pretty dangerous to go into these places. These ice caves have crevasses. You can fall into the center of the earth. You can fall on top. The sled, there was a guy just last year who drove right into a 200-foot crevasse on his sled on a whiteout day, flat light. He couldn't see very well, and right into his death did he go. So as always, be careful if you're out there. Definitely pay attention and stay alert. That's what I'd say about that. All my Hash Church guys are like, I don't know what the fuck to talk about. He's talking about sled in the backcountry.
Well, you sound like a tour guide for like mountaineering.
I'm actually Googling this stuff.
Of nowhere for about 5 hours in Zurich. There's a few things that you got to worry about besides taking pictures and selfies.
But you can get pictures and selfies. And trust me, the group that I was with, we all had high-end cameras. Like it was 5D 3s and up. Everyone had them out at all times. It was just like, it was kind of a little bit much. Plus, I had 2 GoPros with me. I had my 4K video camera with me. I had my 5D Mark III with me. Imagine carrying all this shit into caves. And I was bummed that I didn't have my drone because it was too big and didn't fit in my backpack. That's like a disease.
Well, don't you think if you put the drone inside the glacier, though? Oh, you're talking about above the glacier. I was thinking.
Yeah, I wanted to fly it out above. Because listen, while you're out there, there are like epic film crews filming. Like it's like, oh, there's like Nike filming a pro or a gold medalist snowboarder commercial. Oh, over here is the Sherpas crew or the Teton Gravity, and it's so and so's about to huck off of a 100-foot cliff. That shit's around you while you're out there, so you can stop and kind of just watch the show. We filmed a guy hucking a cliff the other day. It was just couldn't see anyone. All of a sudden, the guy's up on the top of this giant cliff, and he just jumped it, and we were just like, "Wow, that was beautiful. Very nice to see. Very nice." Take a Sherpa. Yeah, there you go. Is that Johnny?
I was just gonna say, bong rip.
Bong rip. Actually, you're not allowed to say that. That's Darren.
I know, but Darren didn't say it, so I was like, Sifty rip.
Johnny.
Sifty rip. Sifty rip.
Sean. Thanks.
You know what? I was going to talk about, curing your resin for making SIFs. So when you're like cropping, we talked about curing or dry, for fresh frozen and stuff like that. But I mean, me personally, I really like to make sure that, I prefer.
How about bong rip? How about bong rip?
No one's going to say no.
No.
I'm going to be in Toronto in May, K420K. K420K. What about K420D? Is that a name? K420K?
It is now.
Okay. Cool.
I just copyrighted it.
Sam with his damn copyrights.
Then just put DJ in front of it.
You got to pay now to say it. Sam patented it. You know it, Melty Heads. That's basically how it goes. Sam's just sitting on billions of dollars in patent fees that we pay him, copyright fees, trademark fees. Sam. Oh, Sam. Fake news.
Don't skunks actually in North America pay him a fee for the name?
They do, absolutely.
They have to.
They have to. It's true. It's not actually like payment, but it's a small amount of skunk terps that is secreted from the anal gland, much like the raspberry terps and the vanilla terps from the beaver, which I wanted to talk to at least for 2 hours about. So let's talk about the beaver terps, please.
Ooh, beaver terps. So we haven't talked about that on Hash Church yet.
It's been a while. No, right. We've never talked about it. That's
never,
right.
never. I heard that raspberry flavoring comes from there. Are you aware of this?
Well, I know you got to go deep. Oh, yeah. Sometimes when it's just like a quiet, you know how I gauge the success of Hash Church is by the look on Todd's face.
Don't do that today, man. It was a very long night. Okay, I'm still sitting here wondering why I'm not asleep right now. I'm so tired, but it's cool.
That's awesome. What's going on, Michael?
To y'all talk. You all sound quite interesting. All I'm thinking is, while you're showing all these cave pictures, I'm thinking that's gonna melt soon. And then you're like, yeah, people showing up in helicopters and planes, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna melt faster.
Yeah, that's what we do. Well, the helicopter was surprising. It landed so close, but the plane, they were in the middle of the glacier, very far away. You had to kind of trek to and from the ice caves from there. Those guys are definitely, the guys with the plane and the TP are conscious. They're definitely trying to keep winter safe, if you will, protect our winters.
Give a shout out to Michael Manning. I saw him there behind Tony. Hi, Mike.
Come on over here, man. We're gonna get him a Jack Frost tab.
That's enough of Michael. Get him off.
Yeah,
that's too much now. I'm saturated.
Yeah, my mic's on. I'm just showing Tony that there's a chat room. I got the other phone set up right here so he can see what's going on with the chat gang.
Nice. That's the way to do it. Michael's always holding it down in the chat room.
I never seen it before.
Really?
Maybe one time maybe one or two times I tried to sign in and I ended up in the chat somehow. And I'm like, I'm here. And people were like so fast talking. I was like, I'm here. And I was like,
this is the nice thing about the chat. If you click your cursor on top of it, it stops the chat. And then you can even move it back and you can take your time to read it and then you can catch up. And
okay, that's how you do that, because I'm like, there's just no way.
It's easier, Tony, to learn how to speed read.
Yeah, that's true. So a lot of people asked me yesterday, there was a lot of different terpenes out there, but when they were taking this dab and they asked me what the difference was, I just told them our secret. And it was harvesting beaver anal glands at a very large and high volume.
Exactly. 30% anal gland beaver extraction?
Yep. Yeah, we're up to 30%. It tastes just like raspberry and vanilla.
Are you talking pure beaver terps?
Yeah, if you hit it at a really low temperature, it's like raspberry. A little bit warmer is more like vanilla.
But don't dab the beaver directly, right?
No, you'll get a mud butt rip, and you don't want that.
Hold on a second.
You really don't.
Hold on. Of course, you know Ola's on the road trip.
You know it, Kanashiva. You know it. Probably the only cannabis streamer who can talk and read the chat at the same time. Lols. Well, I am a bit of a multitasker. I'm not going to lie. I had a special operation so my left eye could kind of go over to the left while my right eye goes over to the right. Simultaneous reading. Ola in the chat. Oh yeah, it's Sunday. She's not at home, right? You guys are like in a beat.
No, we're in another location. We're down by San Bernardino.
Oh, she's all trim right now, is she?
Yeah, she's got all of her friends walking around with food. She's getting all excited. I think I'm gonna try to eat, because what we're gonna do is eat, and then I'll see if I can get my mobile phone to go through I'll do a little walk around. Oh, let's see if you got like. Did you hear me?
We heard you, and we would appreciate it.
We're waiting.
Did you guys have big 420s as well? Like I thought that San Francisco had a pretty big one there, Todd.
Yes, they had 15,000 people. It was the first time they actually let it go down. And
Wow.
I went the year before. I went last year, and it was the last kind of organic year that now it has fences the whole way around it, and cops were shaking people down to make sure there was no weapons, which is probably a good thing. And you couldn't bring glass bombs because that could be dangerous. So, but they let people come in with their stash and smoke out, and some of the local cannabis businesses actually sponsored toilets and stuff and a cleanup so that the trash got taken away, because the number one complaint that people had was that it left a mess, and that's just not a good look for the community. So
exactly,
it's really wonderful that they pitched in and they allowed that to happen. And with being able to go to the toilet and having a bit of safety with the cops there actually being there to enforce safety. Because the year I was there, somebody fucking fired off a gun or whatever, and half the crowd started running in the other direction. So, and you don't want to be in a fucking stampede in the middle of a park, especially if you're fenced in, which we were not last year. But this year went down great. They had no problems, and the trash got picked up, and people weren't pissing on the trees. So,
Wasn't it 21 and over, right?
I don't think anybody was there carding anybody on the way in. I think they were just, they were just shaking down bags. I don't think it was a drinking event.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I think they're in a tough position with you that, they're going to have to accept cannabis as being part of the culture. We're not just an extra part of we're not an alien part of the culture. We are the fucking culture. I mean, when you go to these events or you stand there and watch the customers at places like Berkeley Patients Group, the first thing you realize is, wow, we're everyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna slap up a few more shots from our 420. Just show a little bit of the where all the booths were there. You can see. Sorry, I can't make it larger. For whatever reason, my thing is being a little funny.
How many people would you say were there for that?
They said 35,000. I don't have any idea how to gauge it, but it's definitely like a fair amount of people were there. The crowd goes very far back and it was very wide. So I think
the year before there was definitely a larger crowd than this year. Thursday it did rain a little bit in the morning. It's muddy on one side of it, but yeah, there's probably 30,000 people. It was a huge event.
Pretty big for sure. I would
say Vancouver looked like the best place to be.
Look at this girl throwing joints out, wearing the D420K shirt. Bags of joints. They had
Dominique.
I had a huge joint. Throwing handfuls of joints out to the crowd so that, of course, when it lit up, we could get that smoky shot, which is, it's kind of the money shot when you get that 420 smoke shot. Would have been nice to have the drone, but of course, you're not allowed to fly drones in Vancouver, too close to the airport, unfortunately. So they don't let you do it.
The girl wearing the shirt, Dominique, she made the page 3 of the province and made the Sun as well with the D420K logo. Such free, perfect advertising on such a cool day. It was amazing.
I was standing right between both of those photographers.
Yeah.
They were aggressive, like very aggressive. I could tell they were there only to get paid for shots. I was like, damn, this guy's like literally pushing me out of the way. I'm like trying to like record this for the community. He's like, listen, dude, I need to get these shots and get the hell out of here. I was like, all right, Mr. Newspaper Photographer. Next year, I think I'll just send my shots in for free just to spite that guy. Because I looked at his shots and I was like, wow, I have all these shots. All of us did.
Or make up a label that you can wear that says Associated Press or something hoity-toity.
Right. You don't even need it at this event. You can just go wherever you want. It's kind of one of the nice things. I walked right up.
Just to put him in his place when he tries to push you.
Right. Yeah. Associated Press. Have it all like written with a marker.
No, printed.
Listen, it's amazing what you can do. One time, this is a perfect trick. Now, this would only work in the 90s. I got to think where I was. That's pretty good. I've seen enough fish shows that I can barely remember where I was. But I remember this. It was Minneapolis. It was in 95 in Minneapolis because I got fish to play Halley's Comet by photocopying Halley's Comet out of the Encyclopedia Britannica. That's what you had to do in 95. You had to go to the library and get the Encyclopedia Britannica and Xerox like 50 copies of it so that when I went down onto the floor to give them out to all the people, I'd say, hold this up when fish comes out. Maybe they'll play the song. This is how it went down. I bought a little laminate, a plastic laminate that was just a pouch that went around your neck. And I put my ticket in it. That's all I did. And I walked up to security before the show opened and I said, hey, they wanted me to put these out on the first front 2 rows of seats. And the guy was just like, he looked at my plastic laminate, which was a plastic laminate pouch with a concert ticket inside of it. And I shit you not, these were not the droids he was looking for. He let me through, walked down to the floor, put my little papers out, and I got to sit down there on the floor. I didn't even have a floor ticket for that show. And Fish opened Halley's Comet for the second set. So that was a really fun, nice little experience. Back in the day, just being able to sneak around, with your little fake backstage pass that really was totally not a backstage pass at all, or an all access pass at all.
I don't know what the statute of limitations is, but we could probably still get you in trouble for that.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't mind. You know, I'm older now. I can take trouble.
Bring it.
Exactly. I can take it.
Funny. That was funny, Mark.
Yeah, you like that? Haley's comment. That's the song it was. Hey, that's the song I wanted to hear. It's the song I wanted to hear.
That's the strain that I was smoking last night.
That's it, Shorty Donaire. That's it. Hey, careful, Brett Maverick. I've got a sticker on something. Now, I don't claim it's an invention, but yeah, Brett's pretty right. Putting a sticker on an existing product is considered an invention in the cannabis industry. It's pretty bad, but it's pretty true.
I just copyrighted that.
Oh, shit. Sam's copyrighted.
The chat asked why I was in San Bernardino. If nobody knows out there, there's a cannabis cup going on down here.
Right? Who was playing? Wasn't it like some substantial bands or something?
Damian Marley. Yeah, Nas, 50 Cent, Damian Marley.
Oh, Damian, right.
Method Man, Redman. Pretty big lineup.
So how was the turnout there? Is it pretty big, small? And
the event? The crowd's pretty big, yeah. There's I think the music lineup helped quite a bit. It's pretty busy. It's just a good flow. You know, the way it's set up, I would say it's one of their better events. I wouldn't say it's like the busiest of all time, but it's definitely a lot better vibe and a lot better flow of people since the last time I was in LA or San Bernardino.
We had Raekwon from Wu-Tang was at the 420, but I didn't see him play or anything, sing, rap, do his thing.
I got a selfie with him, of course.
Of course you did.
100%. It was like right
He'll
there.
be here today. He'll be here today.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get him to come by the booth just because John got a selfie. I got to one up him now.
Yeah, you got to get like a selfie where you're like holding like guns and stacks of cash.
Yeah.
Like a rap selfie.
Hey, Mark, when we were taking, me and you were taking that, or a picture was being taken of us that we didn't know, and Johnny jumped in the middle, and he's just, remember that?
That's priceless one. You sent me that one. Here's my selfie.
The one, man.
You took a selfie with him that he didn't even know you were taking?
We were taking, it was funny. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Everybody's walking by.
He's taking ninja selfies, Tony.
He has no shame in taking selfies. And
no shame.
When this first thing started, John was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And he was always taking selfies when I first met him.
Listen.
A few years ago.
Nothing.
Nothing. Taking pictures. You know?
Nothing will ever beat Pinsky taking selfies of like Shanti Baba and Rare Dankness interviewing each other, like at a live interview, and he's like standing there taking that was to me the next level of selfie like insanity. I just was.
It was our interview.
Barcelona 4 years ago.
Yeah, that was our interview, and it was pretty funny.
Right?
Well, selfies. I mean, you know, it was like a new thing. All of a sudden, people were doing it, and it was like cool for a minute, and then it kind of faded away. But then some people just own it and they stick with it.
I love it.
And John's one of those guys. You know, he has.
We have our three-way selfie in Barcelona, pointing in 3 different directions. That's like the best selfie.
Selfie just sounds bad. It sounds like rubbing one out or something. It's
but
I'm just gonna go over here and do a selfie.
Hey, I domain 420 selfies like right away.
I might text Johnny. I say, "How you doing, Johnny? What's up today, Johnny?" Every time there is not a text reply; it's a self reply of him. But now it's a selfie of him and his lady. Every single time. It's
just an easy way of explaining you what I'm doing. I don't have to get into the whole like typing away, and it's just like, this is what I'm doing. Here you go.
Johnny loves the selfies. Loves them.
It just works. Along with my hash.
Well, hey, if it works, then you don't need to fix it. Now I'm gonna just hit a selfie over here. If you guys want to If you guys want to join me for a selfie,
I'll join you.
I like the triple selfies myself.
triple selfies.
I won't tell you
A triple dipped selfie.
sent to myself for Johnny. The world don't need to know.
Right.
So we did. I'll tell you one of my favorite. This we're gonna be hitting stuff. I got this.
Jack Frost.
No, Lemon Remedy, the one that
Ooh.
inadvertently won best CBD in the Emerald Cup. We entered it in the CBD category, in the high times category. So we'll see. It was up against. So I actually like this category because I saw that there was about 15 entries in this category, and they're all different. We had another. I think we did another entry. Like Gold Drop did an isolate from Clementine. So like there's different kinds of terp isolate, crystallate. There's people using hydrocarbon, making really good different oils and things. So it'd be interesting to see how this actually does as a non-solvent in the category against no holds bar, basically. See what people value as. Do they pick an isolate? Do they pick just the 99%? Do they pick a 20-to-1? This is a 3-to-1 chemotype with no myrcene in it. So it's a real unusual taste, but it'll be interesting to see how it pairs in this particular competition.
Very interested to see how it pairs. I just would like to see how it dabs in my pipe. But that's because
I'm going to show you. No, here, this one. I smell some fire. Holy shit. Michael Manning interfering. That's what it looks like. It's like super sap. I don't know if you can see that. Hold on. Can you hold that up? Let's see if I can block this out.
Hairs. Don't you hate when the camera won't just grab it?
There we go. Golly, just grab it, right? No, it loves your hand more than it loves this object. There it is, sort of. Move it up. Oh, there we go.
The only way to really do it is to do what Cuban used to have, which is like the secondary camera, that actually can put things close. I've been trying to set it up on mine for a while. It's not easy.
Oh, you know what? I do have something. I have
your 5D macro lens. Imagine that.
Macro lens that goes on top of this. Hold on a second. I'm going to hit it with the macro lens.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
We're waiting for it. 771 viewers in the room, chilling out. It's chill, Hash Church. Not sure what's going to happen for the rest of the day, but looks like there's some blue sky out there. Maybe some fun will be had.
Cleaning the house. Spending the day at home. I've been here like 2 weeks.
I can talk?
I'm thinking about making some 73 today, maybe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
That's why the shirt's on. I was like, I gotta make hash. About that time.
Ho hum hum ho. Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to end church in about 7 minutes, I think, and we'll just do a short 2-hour. Too many long, drawn-out spaces between talking, and I don't have much else to talk about myself today, but see what Tony's macro lens is.
Wait a second. There's one thing. On the way to the airport last week when I was in Florida, I heard Chimera say, I wish Mark was on because you were still talking about something. I think it was about mineral oil. It's about applying mineral oil to plants.
Neem.
Yeah, was it neem oil? I think one of the things is actually a petroleum distillate, which I believe is just nothing more than mineral oil.
And
I think it might be. Yeah, it might be on one of the lists of being allowed because it's not really a I won't really call it an active ingredient. It's just usually what they put in a formulation to make it more active because it helps it penetrate the leaf. But I think it's something that, yeah, will show up in your extract. So if you extract, you probably don't want to use that stuff.
Right. That stuff looks gooey. It's just dripping down the stem of that syringe.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to apply that, especially during flower.
Oh, I was talking about what Tony was showing, but no, I don't want to apply that ever. Listen, Mark, if more people saw the bulbous heads all over the leaves from like the first like set of leaves, I think they would be like less confident in saying that they wanted to spray that even like not in flower.
What we were talking about, Dr. Seldon, was what an application for Serenade, which is Bacillus subtilis, which was I was just talking about in reference to what the grape producers are using industrially to deal with white powdery mildew. I wasn't talking about it as a crossover to cannabis, but yes, they use a oil as a fine oil that keeps the bacteria alive, which then eats the white powdery mildew, then goes dormant, and then if the white powdery mildew comes back, they come back and hit it with the oil, and it will reactivate that bacteria to eat the white powdery mildew. So again, that was a discussion having to do with more of wine and vines and not having to do with applicability directly to cannabis, because as you said, you don't want to put anything like that on your flowers.
Yeah, and this was like the discussion again. I was listening on my way to the airport where Bubble Man was giving Johnny shit about having a grapevine like under to his garden. Why would you have this thing that can potentially, and again, that is certainly something that can harbor spores and all kinds of mold in grapevines. I don't know if he fumigates those vines at all.
No, nothing. I just let them grow. I'm making that, and it's about 20 feet away.
So let me ask, John, do you ever have a problem with powdery mildew, or?
I have once in a while, but I've used a Clean Light Pro. I've been with some now, have my room completely controlled, so I know exactly what temperatures and what humidity levels to run at. So there's all these key factors of how and the reasons why I was getting PM as I've built my room over the years to full total control. So now it's just maintenance and making sure I don't spray anything in flower. Zero.
Do the grapes mold?
Right now, there's no grapes outside right now. So normally, powdery mildew always comes in. It comes in the fall. So I'm gonna kind of do something about the grapes this year, definitely.
Also, there's no proof that the powdery mildew species that's attacking the grape is the same one that attacks cannabis plants.
And we were going to actually test those roots. We were talking about that last week.
Completely different species.
There you go. Yeah, so that's another thing I'm learning.
Damn. I think it's the same one that they're genotyping, and like what Kevin is doing is the same one that I think is pretty ubiquitous throughout the.
I thought Kevin was saying that it wasn't, but.
Okay, all right, then maybe I got it wrong. I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm mistaken too. I'm not 100% sure here, but I think that there's hundreds of species of mildew, and only a few are known to attack cannabis.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that's absolutely right. I mean, fungi are so diverse they have their own kingdom, for Christ's sakes. I mean, yeah.
They're specific.
There's a whole different host of species, but powdery mildew itself, if I remember, I'm trying to remember what the Latin name for the species is a particular unique thing that I think it's the same species that attacks grapes, that attacks cannabis, that attacks everything else. I mean, look, why would Mother Nature make a different powdery mildew to attack a different plant like cannabis? So pretty sure it's the same. The transfection in the plant is the same kind of mechanism.
Well, cannabis might be an alien. Maybe it's an alien from another planet.
No,
powdery mildew is like trying to hunt it down from other planets.
Yeah, and the person to ask is Kevin, because he was explaining his DNA technology for discovering these sorts of things. Right. And he's the one to talk to, Mark.
Yeah, and I listened again to last week's discussion after I jumped off. Sam, you're absolutely right. Using his marker method to identify resistance is a real gold mine. I mean, that's really where you want to look for it. And if you look at I think the work that Chimera's talked about, mostly by Hoscomp, but I think that even Jeff Raber's got a paper. There's a few people who have looked at this now, and they're looking at resistant strains of cannabis and what that reads into in terms of looking at the terpene profile to understand, is there a preferred terpene profile that helps keep cannabis free from fungal invasion? And that's a really valuable thing to know. Right.
Yeah, it could be either and or, meaning there could be terpenes that help protect. There could be terpenes that make it more susceptible. I have no idea, but there's.
Yeah, my theory, and this goes along like what Etiquette is saying, is that there's certain terpenes that actually attract bacteria, and it's actually beneficial bacteria that actually work on keeping the fungus at bay. Because typically bacteria needs fungus in order to break down cellulose and in order to try to, there's a symbiotic relationship between bacteria and fungus, which is why broad spectrum biocides work well to control both.
And I think natural evolution has assured us that the varieties that do thrive and survive in the tropics and the equator, they have to be resistant to these kinds of problems. Otherwise, they just wouldn't be around anymore.
Natural selection would have taken them out years ago.
Whereas varieties in Afghanistan, there are no natural selective pressures against.
Right. And if you think about it,
and resistance.
Yeah, the macrobiotic biome at that elevation, in that part of the world, is unique. So the plant evolved in a unique biome, and it's not replicated in Colorado or Los Angeles or elsewhere, right?
Yeah, but in general, I say that almost all of the seeds that I've imported, maybe 50 different batches from Afghanistan, Pakistan, these areas around Afghanistan, they were susceptible to powdery mildew. Not every single plant, but really a high percentage of them. I wish I would have been able to grab the ones that weren't resistant, even if they were shit pot. It would have been interesting to see why were they resistant.
Sam, do you know if outdoor growing practices, sun-grown, so to speak, cannabis is still susceptible to powdery mildew, or is that strictly an indoor?
No, you absolutely see it growing outdoors in California and other places. Absolutely.
Right. So there's nothing about the outdoor biological pressure.
It might reduce it. Todd, what do you think about that? You probably have as much experience with it as me, with whether outdoor the same clones have reduced levels of powdery mildew from indoors poorly grown. Do you hear me, Todd?
He's on mute.
He's
talking, but we don't hear him.
Todd, you're muted.
He's talking to somebody else, I think, folks.
He's talking to somebody else.
Basically, I don't know.
Okay, what do you think, Tony?
The spores are living. They're in the air, and different conditions have a different amount that they produce, like different environments. And if you get it, if you start getting above 1,500 feet, it's going to be less than if you're 10 feet off the water. And if you give the right conditions, they're going to prosper. So the best way is, just like anything else, when you're cultivating, you could get it in a greenhouse, you could get it in your rooms, you could get it outside. If you give the condition, its chance to bloom, it will. And so you just have to do preventative and make sure that you you don't have that if you're doing indoor. And then you got to make sure you have clean mother.
I'll tell you a funny story, Tony. I actually tried not to be particularly preventive in my greenhouse. I wanted to see which plants were susceptible.
Yeah. No, I could see that. You just you make the conditions right. So a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, think of when it's wet, damp, or muggy.
And low light, cool temperatures, all the things we both know about. Absolutely. And I didn't particularly try to remove those conditions, because if I was growing from seed, from imported seeds, and if they were susceptible, I wanted to know.
Yeah. No, I think that it's one, a condition of the environment, and two, I've seen some plants with genetics that are resilient to PM when other plants have it. It seemed to be a trait that's probably passed along, like Mark said, with some kind of configuration of its essential oils that's working to make that. And then I also find that some genetics, since once it becomes aesthetic inside the plant, and it kind of, if it's reproducing in the wild, sometimes they don't actually just become resilient to PM. They learn to live with it, almost like having kind of an inherent evolved disease that they've adapted to. So
does that mean there's no economic damage to the clone, but yet it has PM? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that the plants, I think that the plants, they do, some of them are resilient, some of them are just prone to it, but then some of those species learn to live with it. So they actually just kind of run their cycle in the wild, in the field, and they're like, well, I got a little bit of PM, but I kind of, it wasn't like that bad, but they seem to survive. So it seemed, and that's what happens in different types of environments around the world. I could see the plant actually having to learn to live with something if it wanted to survive, is what I'm saying. Because its sole purpose is to seed and leave a legacy, behind it. It's like, I want to seed and I want to breed and I want to survive. It's a survival plant. So I could see it kind of like, continuing on with I would say a slight cough, if you will.
Yeah, well, I have fundamentally found almost all imported wide leaf drug varieties bred for hashish were susceptible to this. Not every single plant, but the vast majority to some degree.
It's really the environment, and
and I as I explained, I was trying to create a negative environment for, as sort of Joe Blow would be doing it.
Why don't you tell everyone that's listening to Hashers the perfect conditions for promoting PM, so that way they can understand.
Well, I think low light, cool temperatures, high humidity, and maybe really super high nitrogen levels. Can you think of anything else?
Sometimes the airflow.
Oh yeah, damn it, airflow. Yeah, no airflow.
Yeah, no airflow.
Yeah. So imagine if you have a greenhouse or an indoor and you lose power on a Friday night, and let's say you think you're golden till Monday, because this is how hard it is to grow, and you lost power in your airflow. Your backup system came on with a third of your lights, and your temperatures were cool. But since you didn't have proper airflow, your humidity rises, and your CO2 exchange in that room changes. So now the plant's almost suffocating, can't breathe. Boom, you have spores that now have been seeded. Monday, you come in, you flip your lights on, you fix everything. Or even if you were there 24 hours to 48 hours, so if you missed it, you were there 30 hours, and you came in on Sunday, you thought you fixed the problem Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now the problem is you seeded that little spore. And now if the conditions are right, it can spread. And if the buds are already flowering, it'll hide in the bud. And it finds its way to keep breeding and breeding and breeding. So that's why sometimes you'll see spots of PM in a garden. Let's say in 10 pounds, you found 15 grams. You would see spots of that. because it maybe had one night or a 30-hour period where the conditions are right and it tried to bloom and then the conditions weren't there and the plant was strong enough and it fought back. But, you know, one mistake and that could happen. And then when you're growing outside, shit, those conditions can happen all the time, especially if you're 300 to 500 feet off sea level.
Yeah, as I explained, I had certain varieties with widely genetic backgrounds that every year, because I would maintain them as big clones in the ground, every year would start to get a little bit of mildew on them when the light levels were low, the temperatures were low, and then in the spring when I made fresh clones out of the non-infected, apparently, material, then they would be fine. I would be able to grow many, many clones from them, and I never saw any problems at all. But if I tried to maintain it again over the winter and really cool temperatures, low light levels, et cetera, I'd usually see problems with
Sometimes in greenhouses, if you have a drip system and water drips on the bud and you're growing, you know, 6-pound plants, you've got big buds, botrytis can develop the little water that gets in the bud. A lot of things can happen.
Yeah, that's usually botrytis, so that's you know, a completely different problem that gets everybody. Or you can see botrytis growing on the stems of plants, and it grows those little philosopher stones of botrytis.
Yep. Yep. So I think, like, if you're, you know, that's the thing. If you find a piece of land that you've grown many varieties and you never have PM on your bud, that means you have a really good piece of land, and whatever's happening there is a really good condition and environment that.
Yep, and it would help if you grew varieties that are less, that have more resistance to botrytis.
Yep. Well, I gotta pack up and head over. If you guys, are you gonna shut it down, Marcus, or are you gonna? He's
on mute.
Marcus is the big chief.
Unmute yourself.
Or as we say in France.
I'm down to end it now. 11:11. It's a good time. Couple of hours. Slow hash church today, but nice and almost necessary. Can't be super intense every single week. It was a natural conversation, and you guys are at the cups, so hopefully we'll hear more from you guys. Maybe see some pictures on their social medias between Indra and Tony. And I'll just thank everyone for coming out. Thanks for being here on Hash Church. Thanks for waking up so early, Todd, after going to bed so late. Thank you, Etienne, D420K, Johnny B, Skunkman Sam, Mark Scaldone, Tony V, Indra. Thanks, everybody, for watching Hash Church. We do appreciate it. See you later, Brett Maverick, in the chat room, and everybody else. Peace, everybody.
Peace.